Hello, Alex.
Hello, Neil.
Hi. Okay, we're on the call, so I'll start the presentation. Okay, so can you see my screen, Alex?
I can do, Neil. That's great.
Okay, that's great. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Neil Bather, and I'm the Managing Director here at Transio Media. So, first of all, I'm delighted that you managed to take the time to join us today for this educational webinar. I'm joined by my colleague who you just heard then, Alex Brunat, who's our Commercial Director, and he's going to be taking over for a few minutes to give today's main presentation. But just before I kick off, just a bit of housekeeping. Because we've had a good turnout today, we've had to mute everybody just so there's no feedback. So what we've got in the toolbar is a pop out for questions. As we're going along, if anybody's got any questions, please feel free to just type them in the questions bar, and then we'll pick them up at the end of this session. So, for those that don't know Transio, we're a consultative independent systems integrator. We specialize in the print, marketing, and photo industries, and we've got over 10 years experience deploying web-to-print solutions. So. And this is across a broad spectrum, so hopefully today we can add a bit of interest into this presentation. So our customers, basically we deal with very, very small customers right up to blue chips and selling all sorts of different things from business to consumer to business to business. So again, we've gained over the years a vast experience in this marketplace. And we're independent, so that means that whatever we talk about or whatever we put out to talk about in the market, it's chosen by us. We're not part of a vendor strategy, so we have choices for our customers. And really, behind the scenes, what backs us all up is the care that we give our customers. So we've got a very robust support network and support team based in the UK that help us with our clients be very successful. So, you know, when we're talking about web to print, if we look at some of these customers here, these are all extremely successful, and they're successful online. So why can't we adopt this within the print industry to really drive things forward? But it's not just about getting the right front end or the right shopping experience. It's about the back end as well. So it's great that you can attract customers via a web portal, but it's getting it out of the back end of your door with the minimum amount of touches, because ultimately optimizing efficiency, reducing touch points and errors can only be one thing, and that's going to be improved margins for everybody. So what we're looking at here is not just kind of a portal, but the whole stream workflow into your business. So as I touched on previously, we've been doing this quite a while, so we've picked up the kind of pros and cons of web to print. So before I hand over to Alex, I'll just touch on some of the things that I'd like to add into this presentation. So when we're looking about deploying or sitting down with one of our clients, the first thing that we're asking is who's our customer's customer, because this really depends and this really changes the strategy of what we're going to be approaching. So is it business to consumer? Because selling photo books, calendars, greetings cards, it's a totally different way of working to if you're going to be business to business, which is more brochures, business cards, reports, etc. So this is a key kind of start point for any of our customers of, you know, what are you trying to do? And then we can look at the technologies that would first suit that. Then the next question that comes up is, do I develop it myself, or do I go to a vendor and get something off the shelf? So obviously both have pros and cons. I think the pro of developing yourself is that you typically end up exactly what you've set out to just the journey. You've started out on a journey and you've got what you wanted. Now the drawbacks there is that you've then got to maintain everything. So when, for instance, Google Chrome changed the way their browser works, or you know, some technology is end of life, we've had lots of customers that have come back to us and said, look, we're just tired of having to continuously maintain our own development. So again, you know, you've got to judge what's right for your business. And then off the shelf, you've got to make some compromises typically. So it may do 85% of what you actually need, but the 85% is core business. So you're going to be up and running a lot quicker, but you do have to make some compromises along the way. Then it's a question of technology, or infrastructure, should I say. So some of our customers have got full IT teams, and they want to take full responsibility for everything. And then others basically don't want to get their hands dirty. So again, when you're looking at what you want for your business, you've got choices of, do you bring it into your own infrastructure, or do you pay a subscription and let somebody else handle all the sort of the IT and the back end, which lets you concentrate on selling and actually building the system for your business. Again, we've had customers who've started, and they've started in a small way, and they've hit a buffer where they've tried to scale, and they've won a big contract, for instance, and they've realized that their technology or their platform they've built on is just not scalable. So again, this is really important that whoever you're getting into bed with, make sure that they can put one order a month through, or 1 million, and then you'll have room to grow with your business. We've, over the last sort of 10, 11 years, we've seen many companies come and go. So likewise, as to the point above, just do due diligence on the vendor, that they have a very clear strategy for web to print, and they've got a good financial sounding, because the last thing you want to do as a customer is build your web to print business on somebody else's technology, and for them to not be around maybe 6 months' time or a year's time. And we've worked with customers who've been through this, so I appreciate the pain points that this brings. Don't get it wrong. Again, we've had customers that have started and realized 3/4 of the way down the journey that they've either got the wrong solution for their particular business type, so they've bought a business-to-business solution when they're actually really trying to sell calendars online. So again, due diligence, take your time, work with a number of vendors, sit down, consult, and then sort of move forwards from there, because spending the time up front will save you a lot of time further down the line. And then obviously the big one is, once you've thought about a vendor, thought about the right solution, thought about the right technology for your business, how's it then going to plug into everything else you've got? So, do you have RIPs? Do you want the system to automatically talk to those RIPs and do a lot of the settings, via JMF or job definition, etc. There's lots of things that you need to think about when you're putting this into your business. Some of our customers do it in a very manual way, and it works very well, but then a lot would think about the full automation structure behind the scenes. And then the one thing that we sort of really bang on about, and most customers don't think about this, is have a plan. A lot of people will start and think, right, we need web to print, deploy it, and then it's not a magic salesperson. It does need the promotion. You do need to get your salespeople behind it. You do need to get customers on board. And our strategy is pick a few customers, go live with them, learn a few mistakes along the way, and then roll it out to the wider audience. And it will be a much cleaner deployment going forwards. And don't overcomplicate things. Start simple, because we've had many experiences where we've had people trying to do too much too soon, and it's just gone wrong. So again, start simple, build your business, and then grow from there. And we've seen that work really well over a lot of customer installations. So basically, if you're not on the web, you're not in the game. That's a little slogan I've pinched from somebody else, but it's where we're at from our business. And like I said earlier, we touch across the whole spectrum of web to print. So I'm going to hand over to Alex. I just wanted to give a very brief sort of my introduction, if you like, of how I see things. But I'm going to hand over now to Alex Renat, and he's going to sort of fill you in the detail of this main presentation. Okay, Alex, over to you. We're just going to swap presentations now.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. I'm hoping you can all see my screen. Neil, can you see my screen?
I can.
Great, fantastic. Okay, that's what I look like. And the main part of the presentation today, and Neil, thank you, has covered quite a bit of the headlines, is going to be going to a bit of some of the detail around becoming successful with web to print, taking into account all of those very important points that Neil's just made. I'm going to go through this presentation, but I would be welcoming questions which will cover, well, if they're pertinent for the actual slide, then we'll cover them on the spot. Otherwise, we'll deal with them afterwards. So please feel free to raise your hands, and or your virtual hand, so to speak, and type in your questions, and we'll see what we can do to try and answer them. Right, so starting from scratch, it's important to understand, to know A, what you want to sell, but also what you can sell with a web to print solution. These days, it's not only print, funnily enough. And also to think about the sort of flexibility you're going to need based on your plan. That means to say that if you just want to dabble with web to print, then the chances are you won't get, based on what you are prepared to spend and the sort of provider you want to work with, you might get something which may work, but it certainly won't give you the flexibility or the capability of growth. So it's important to look under the hood and to ask these questions ahead of time, and to let the business drive what your requirements actually are when it comes to these things. The other thing we're going to talk about is customer buying journeys, and this is not about the actual what features have to be present in the system, but also understanding how customers buy things, and then making sure that the solution that you're offering mimics that, or makes their life that much easier because it helps them in accordance with their existing behavior or what they would like. There is a fundamental difference between B2C and B2B in this market. Whilst we're primarily today going to talk about B2B, it does extend out to B2C, albeit in slightly different ways, and we'll cover that. Specific to B2B, branding and loyalty, because as we're going to see, the sales process or the opportunity here for you as printers is not about the fact that you're allowing people to deliver print orders to you quickly. Yes, they can, but actually it's about driving loyalty and to realize the value of that loyalty. And I mean genuine loyalty, not this loyalty that's derived because you're cheaper than everybody else. How do you get paid? Very important for all of us. But in terms of in a portal, is there credit cards? Probably not in a B2B situation. You're probably thinking about purchase orders, account management, etc., etc. And of course, it's fantastic to be able to have this wonderful technology to be able to take orders on the front end. But just as importantly, of course, is to give you the tools to produce and to be efficient in the way you do that, and to have all the tools that are necessary for your processes to become as efficient and as automated, although not to the extent that you miss out on certain things in production. So automation, integration, workflow, automated workflows are all very, very important and part and parcel of a web to print implementation. And Neil touched on this beforehand, but we're going to look in just a little bit more detail about what is the, besides the recipe for success, which we're going to spend, of course, the most time on, what is the, why do people not do well with web to print? And there's loads of people who don't do well with web to print, and that we're going to come up with a list of ingredients for failure, so things to avoid specifically. So, what can you sell with web to print? Now, there's a long list of print items here. Leaflets, flyers, cards, brochures, point of sale, greeting cards. But what about things like T-shirts? And what about things like pens or promotional material? Theses, manuals, menus, cookery books, photo books, calendars, and the list just goes on and on and on. And all fundamentally, the term web to print means print that is ordered on the web. So anything that's going to become part of printed material or derived from printed material, you would fall under the umbrella of web to print. Now, this is not a deliberately wide definition. This is part of the route to success, and that is understanding what you can sell, which is then going to lead you to decide on what you want to sell, right, and how you want to sell them. Because not only are you as a supplier can you be handicapped by the amount of choice that you get, but your customers even more so. We're all consumers as well, and we all, I assume, buy things online. And the more we only want to see the options, we only want to have visibility of what we care about. And the art of that is for you, in terms of print, the print suppliers, to already get a handle on what options you want to be offering and how you want to present them to the customer. Because really, it's paralyzing to have too many choices, especially when you don't know what they mean. It might look cool, it might be cool, it might be, certainly, as printers, we like all this sort of anything that's cool, from a print perspective, but how much of it really matters. So very importantly, know what you can sell and then decide what you want to sell. So before we move up further, success means, first of all, business focus. The whole business has to be part of this, and it's not just like a one guy in the corner there, or even as a business owner thinking, oh, well, that's a great idea, I want a website, I want to sell print on the web. It requires focus, because the way that you market this solution, the way you sell this solution, the way you support this solution, the way you customize the solution, the way you price this solution is entirely different to the traditional way a printer works. Now you can copy the way a traditional printer works and do it that way, but then you're not going to unleash the real value of the solution that you have in place. And so having a plan, like Neil said, is very, very important. And this is not just a technical plan. The first part of the plan, of course, is to have a commercial one, to know what you want to be doing, to understand what the targets are, what the aims of the solution are, and then to make every other part of that process tie in with the commercial aims of the business. And that will lead you to find out what the right platform is. And the issue that the industry has in general is that there are so many suppliers out there. There's so many choices in terms of technologies, and there's so much noise around what they can and what they can't do. And of course, nobody is entirely clear about what they can't do, right? So you've got to work it out for yourself. So having the right platform also involves you working with the right partner, somebody who has choices. And right, okay, it's a bit biased. We're biased because we are independent. But the fact of the matter is, if you are speaking to people who only have one choice of what they can offer you, then of course they're not going to be so balanced in their view and putting themselves in your place. So having a right partner is, I would say, just as important as having the right platform, or rather, it is the pretext to getting the right platform. Right, this is where there's lots of information on one slide, so we won't read it all because I'm sure you can all read. But fundamentally, the slide that we saw before about the types of products you can sell, the leaflets, the brochures, the wide format, etc., can in technical terms be condensed into these categories. So we're dealing here with files that people upload. They may be print-ready PDFs, but they could also be Word files, right? So user-uploaded files. Then we're talking about products that are static. Now, what that means is you're doing work for an existing customer who wants to reorder some brochures. They shouldn't need to upload those brochures and go through the whole proofing, rigmarole, and pricing, etc. That should already be built into the solution that you offer them. So we call those static products. Those are just reorders. Personalization, lots of different ways of options when it comes to personalization, right? Number one is people, let's say designing or filling in their own business card, right, or business cards, then leading on to people uploading databases, then having logic around that. So, if it's an estate agent who's based in I don't know, in the Cotswolds, and put a picture of the Cotswolds on the back. If it's if it's an estate agent in the same group, of course, who's based in I don't know, in King's Cross, and put a picture of King's Cross on it, automatically, just by reading the data, the system should all be able to automatically populate the print. So that's another example of personalization. Other examples would be image personalization. You know, taking the guy's name, person's name, and putting it in clouds in an aeroplane. I don't know, or their name in daisies, whatever it might be. And then you've got even, you know, an amalgamation of the two. You know, putting names in different shapes and modeling text around for phone numbers, so that everything is in the right format. All of these things fall under the category of personalized print. Wide format is well, it's wide format, but it comes with its own requirements. You know, things like grommets, ropes, you know, roll-fed substrates, and different processes as well. So even if you don't print wide format today, it doesn't mean to say that you can't offer it through web to print. It means to say you just have to outsource the production. So your system has to be able, if that's what you're going to do, has to support all of these different options specific to large and wide format. Next one would be groups of products. So let's take an example of a new starter kit, you know, or the conference kit that involves the stationery, the business cards, the mouse pad, the pens, and the padlock, for example, and printing all of those, or offering them all as a kit, so that the new starter gets everything, you know, together. You can even have them dynamically created. So if the person is, again, apply logic to what the contents of that kit might be. And then designing online, still, I would say quite. I mean, it's not embryonic; it's here and now. But in terms of its usage, everybody will have their own opinion on this. But this is about allowing customers to actually to use their web browsers to design print, which they can then just save, proof, and place the order. So they don't need to be in designers or work with it. You know, they can even, you know, publish on your website, so to speak. So just type directly into the browser, or copy and paste into the browser, and, you know, have all the different tools for text and image manipulation and design already there without them having to make an investment in any word processing or publishing software themselves. So I think we can all empathize with this, because we're all buyers, right? So what we need to think about is what makes a buying journey efficient and enjoyable. And there's two parts to this. Number one is, well, there's more than two parts. There's three. I would say at least three parts. One of them is speed. Right, speed and a reduction of choice to such an extent that I feel that I've got enough choice to make a decision, but not too much choice that I'm paralyzed by all the options in front of me. Also, look and feel. It's an entire science about, you know, how we read things, how we make decisions, and what we're drawn towards. So milestone-driven journeys, understanding what the steps are that customers currently take in order. That's a good place to start. What they currently do in order to place a print order with you, because chances are it's going to be the same with everybody else. And then working, and then thinking about, right, okay, how many steps can I take out of that? You know, how can I make it a more efficient journey, which involves taking unnecessary steps out, because probably, you know, there's not many people who actually enjoy buying print. You know, that is one of those things they decide that they need to do, and so we try and make it, you know, as efficient and of course as enjoyable as possible. And the aesthetics we're going to speak a bit more about shortly. Also, checkout should be as quick as possible. One of the big issues that certainly in B2C, B2B of course not so much, is people getting to a checkout process and then again being confronted with too many choices that they don't actually check out, or the phone rings and they go off and do something else. Doesn't really happen as much in the B2B scenario, but nevertheless, checkout doesn't, you know, if they can't pay with a credit card because it's a B2B situation, they can only they have an account, or they have to put in a purchase order. Only ask for that information, so that you're not giving people a reason to not want to work with you. So the key to working in B2B storefronts is, of course, all the functionality that we've spoken about, but it's about, and if I was going to come up with an umbrella term for what's important, it is making your customer feel at home. And what that entails is, first of all, giving them a portal which is entirely branded to them, so they feel that they own it. It's theirs. It's special to them. So instead of having to log on to John Smith Print and Co. and Sons, they log on to smithkleinbeechamprintportal.com, for example, with a username and password which has been given to them, which is secure. But of course, once they're in there, they see stuff that's relevant to them. You know, there's templates there that have already been signed off by the brand police in accordance with all the compliance, all the guidelines. So they don't have to worry about any of that. All the pricing's been agreed and it's live, so nobody's getting any surprises. Approvals, of course. So, you know, if it needs sign off, budget sign off, then that has to be taken care of as well. It's already built into the solution. And just essentially making it a homely experience, and taking away anything which appears over generic and not special. So once you've managed to conquer that requirement, the next stage in becoming successful with web to print is doing it again. So one customer is great, but if you could manage to get 10, 20, 30 doing the same thing, then you're really winning. And the technological requirement for that is to have a platform that allows you to step, repeat, and customize. So you're essentially, from your perspective, from a print perspective, there are these branded templates or whatever, that they are variations on a theme of these, you know, user upload, static print, wide format, as we said before. So by having a preset template yourselves, and then being able to essentially copy, paste, and then customize it in accordance with this new prospect, and to then say, look, you know, we can just put all of your stuff in it just like this, and giving them an example to work from, that they can understand how easy it could be for them to work. From your side, you're just essentially using the same platform to step, repeat, and customize as many times as you need to get the multiplier effect in terms of the use of your platform. And this is where things can sometimes get a bit hairy, because you've got to make sure that your platform has got the degree of flexibility built in for you to, without needing a master's degree in computer science, to customize these storefronts very, very quickly, and to roll them out, and to have a preset list of tools that are not prohibitive for you to work with, so you don't have to over-resource internally yourselves, and that you can focus on generating more and more print. One of the things that selling in this way, web to print B2B storefront specifically, involves a bit of a leap in the approach of how you market and sell the business. Because what's going to happen is, by definition, instead of selling print, you're going to sell a solution. You're going to sell something which is an all-encompassing solution that could potentially take care of all of that particular business customer's communications requirements. And selling against that value is far more, pardon the repetition, but it's far more valuable than selling print based on, you know, cost plus margin, and being in a competitive environment for every single job. So it involves an adjustment in terms of the way you sell this stuff. But the benefits are that you are, if you can come up with the right strategy and you can lock down enough of these storefronts, then your business is a lot more future-proofed, because you're not at the behest of your next competitor to come, and you're certainly not at the behest of any other say high street type print supplier, because the solution's already been made. It's already there. You can even charge. Sometimes some of our customers actually charge their customer for the product, for the creation of the storefront, as a way to get invested commitment. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. Of course, it's important for you not to have a landed cost on the creations of storefronts that you may make, because the way we advise our customers is that before you even go to the meeting, you can at least come up with some prototype to show them, so you can actually do a demonstration of what they could have. It wouldn't be perfect, but it's all about easily being able to step and repeat what you've already done. Who you sell to is going to be different as well. Print buyers well, sometimes they are the budget holders, and sometimes they're not. But if you're selling a solution which is potentially going to address it's going to address a problem, or a perceived problem, which is far greater than a specific print job, you've got to be talking to the right people in that business, so that you can give them the comfort and give them the solution that's going to give them the highest value. And I've already mentioned all of these, so I'm not going to repeat them. But an empathy, a genuine empathy for what people's issues are, and that is, things like corporate restrictions. Those of us who have had the pleasure to work for large American corporations know the sort of hoops that you have to go through when you want to change anything which is corporate, right? And so to have a degree of empathy, but of course people struggle with all of this. So if you have a solution to offer, which you would do with the best, with the most appropriate technology, then you're in good shape. But it's all about empathy and understanding what your customers' challenges are. Right. So there's a list here. I'm just going to pick on two, and the first one is the third from the bottom, actually, and that is live pricing. Very, very important. Nobody likes to be surprised when it comes to pricing, and in fact, that's one of the biggest reasons why consumers drop off when they're buying things, and it's also the same reason businesses don't like to work with other businesses, because costs. You may get away with it once or twice, but people just won't have it anymore. They expect transparency. And transparency in terms of web to print means live pricing. So as options are being changed, this type of binding, that type of binding, this type of finishing, this type of paper, all of that stuff needs to show the customer how much they're spending, or how much should it be. That's how much they will be spending if they carry on with the options that they've chosen. Distributed delivery, one person orders for a load of branches, for example, being able to distribute the work, the ability for you to outsource work as well, certainly for overwork and stuff that you don't print at the moment, and linking into things like cost centers, for account management, etc. Right. There's a major message in this slide, and besides the obvious potential that you have for huge success in web to print, and this is not a point of conjecture anymore. If you do it right, then you will be successful. Is not to get mixed up between the different facets of let's call it print technology, which is not related specifically to the actual printer. And so we've got this slight grey area between what we call web to print solutions and MIS. And there's lots of others as well. There's also account management. It's very, very important. I speak as an independent here, not to let the tail wag the dog, or in any form or fashion, because they are all different disciplines. And so just because a manufacturer supplies a web-to-print solution doesn't mean to say that the MIS solution that they provide or recommend is the best in the market. It just happens to be the one that they work with, and vice versa. And you have to see through the noise and appreciate that things are not as locked down as they are, and things are not necessarily as they seem, and to pick and to choose the solution that is absolutely right for you after due diligence against your business's requirements for every system. So that means to say, decide what you want from web to print. That shouldn't necessarily, or it shouldn't really affect your choice of MIS, and vice versa, because there is the idea of a fully joined up technological masterpiece is a bit of a misnomer, because the functionality, the technology exists to join up disparate systems already, in probably just as enough of a fashion for them to work together. So that's I would say a major point. This is a big source of pain for a lot of people who sort of buy into this idea. I mean, we've got JDF, which obviously is a subset of XML. XML is more than XML integration is now commonplace, and locking one system out from the other because you're trying to leverage the fact that you sell two systems is rather, well, frankly, is unacceptable, because you as a customer deserve to have the choice of picking what you decide is best for your business in every one of these disciplines. My favourite slide. Anybody who's seen The Field of Dreams, this web to print is not the Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will not come, probably, because everybody's got a website, right? So why should they necessarily work with you? You have to build it so that they will come, but in order for that to happen, you have to have a plan, and you have to have a proper, effective marketing and sales plan. And this is outside of the champion, taking on a champion or becoming a champion yourselves internally to bring everybody with you, because as I've said before, selling this stuff is not the same as selling print. But if you get it right, you get it right big time. And if you are not content competing in the current print climate, on the basis of costs and margins, then this really is the way forward. It's the most obvious way forward for a printer. But you need a plan. And in order to have a plan, my advice would be that to take advice. This is just we haven't even scratched the surface here, but to speak to people who have done it before, people who have done it before successfully, speak to suppliers who have done it before, and to see what they say, but not necessarily about their technology or their products, but about their business acumen and about how they can help you facilitate all of this. So to conclude, what are the most common ways that to fail with this? And hopefully after this 40-minute presentation or so, it's pretty obvious. But number one is a crowbar solution. That is a solution which has been cobbled together based on reasons other than what's best for making the customer's journey, making the customer's experience, making your experience in terms of automation, and as I said before, not being able to duplicate what you're doing and to, as I said, step and repeat all of those things because it's crowbar, because it's not, or because it's not the right system. Full stop. It's not flexible enough. That's a way to fail. Something which involves it gives you that degree of flexibility, but also means that you need to be or to have very, very technical experts in order to make it work. Of course, sometimes it's necessary if you need to do something very bespoke, but you shouldn't need to do any of the stuff that I've spoken about now. So something which is too technical. And all the others are really related to a lack of plan, and also a lack of customer understanding. The solution selling generally involves understanding not what we want to do, but understand what our customers would like, and then seeing if we've got something that they're going to that could give them what they want, so to speak, or what they would like. So it's understanding, being truly empathetic to what each customer needs. And believe me, even though they're all print buyers, they don't necessarily have the same challenges. They will all have different ones. And not easy to manage. Well, what can I say? It ties in with the too technical stuff and the crowbar solutions. If your system you can't manage it properly, and because everything's all over the place, and you are spending more time managing the system than selling the solution, then that's people will just give up. So this is just a sort of short list. Don't want to leave on stop on a negative note, but as I said, the benefits are huge. The opportunity is, well, frankly, it is the way forward if you're not doing it already. But do it properly. And we are here to give advice. It's what we do. We're an independent supplier. We've done this for many years, as Neil said, and more than happy to help if you would like. So in summary, and I'm not going to read it all out to you, but planning. Get everybody on board, as many people, whoever's necessary to get on board. Be aware of end-to-end integrated solutions, because if it's too good to be true, hey, guess what? It probably is. And selling benefits. And the benefits are not only, the print is part of the requirement, but the benefits are wider than that. And in actual fact, the value of what you're selling, meaning say the way that you price it, is not around the value of the print at all. It's very important, of course, but it's about the all the other ancillaries. They are worth more. The qualitative value of that is worth more than the fundamental cost of producing the print. And so you're selling the solution. So that concludes this presentation from my side. And Neil?
Thank you very much, Alex. Hope everybody found that interesting. I did, certainly. Couple of questions. Well, what was interesting, actually, well, there weren't particular questions, but as you've been talking, Alex, some comments have come in, that agreements and here. So I think you touched on a few points that people have seen in their businesses. So yeah, that's interesting. But we just had a couple of questions through. First was from John, and he was interested in if he's planning a business-to-business web-to-print solution, what sort of timescale should he give himself? Obviously, that's a very wide question, and we'd need to pick up afterwards. But typically, we'd say you'd need sort of 3-month window, and that would give you time to get the thing installed or deployed, get the templates in there, get tested, and then rolling out with your first customer. I think that's a fair kind of timescale that we would say on average customer could use. I mean, we've had customers doing much bigger deployments that have taken far longer, but we'd have to take each instance on its own merits. And unless anybody else has got any other questions, I think we've got off quite lightly there, Alex. I would just have another one, sorry. Alex, will your slide presentation be available afterwards to share?
Yeah, I think so, Neil. Didn't say anything too controversial.
It's a very general presentation, so there's no confidential information in there. So I'm happy for that as well. So for those that are on the session, we'll get that across to you after we wrap up. So
no worries.
Thank you ever so much for everybody joining. As you can see on screen, there's our contact details should you want to contact us afterwards. But you'll also have an email from us with the presentation slides. So please ping us a message if you want to chat. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.